Hello. Welcome back to the Saba show. Basically, I've been a Brooklyn Nets fan since 2017. Basically, I love this team dearly. I watch them a fair bit. And I thought I'd basically do a video where I sum up what they've done in their offseason to this point. Because there's been a lot of moves. It's very hard to keep up to date. But look, I thought I'd just cover it, put it all in one video, have a bit of fun. So anyway, let's just jump right in to the video. So the first deal that the Nets did was the Spencer Dinwiddie trade. And look, I was pretty gutted that Dinwiddie had to go. He just cost too much money. And it's pretty unfortunate because from that, that really fun 2018 to 19 side that had Allen, Joe Harris, Dinwiddie, D'Lo, LeVert. He's gone, which means that only Joe Harris is left. And I'm pretty gutted that he couldn't win a championship with us because he's been there since the beginning. And he's been a part of, making us relevant again. And look, in this trade, it was a 3-year, $62 million deal that he signed at the Washington Wizards, where the Nets received a 2024 second, a 2025 second round pick swap, and the $11.5 million trade exception, which, I don't know too much about the tax bill, your salary cap, all that jazz, but, that money can go towards, getting a player. I don't think this season, but in the future, if we need a player to help with our squad depth. As for the picks, we don't really need players. These picks probably aren't going to hold too much value in the future, but then again, we've seen what GMs can do with second round picks. So look, I'm happy for Spence. He got his money. He worked hard for it, coming off that ACL. This is just the start of, you could carve out a very, very strong career at the Wizards alongside Bradley Beal. So good on him. Next up, we have two other players we got rid of. Jeff Green went to the Nuggets as a free agent for 2 years, $10 million. He was a vital piece for us last year, especially in the playoffs. When Harden and Kyrie went down, he had that game where I think he hit 7 threes in that Game 5 victory, I believe. He was just crucial in that match. And we're going to miss his, bench scoring or his offensive firepower when he is in the starting lineup. And he usually got the assignment for, the biggest offensive threat on the opposition. So, he had a very good 3-ball. There were some games he was shooting lights out, and he was a very vital part of our team. As well as Landry Shamet, he started very slow. He started awful. People were, calling for him to go, pretty much. They wanted him traded big time. But slowly as the year went on, he was getting open looks. He was hitting those open looks, which was really good for us. But we offloaded him in a draft night deal, which we will cover later. But, a bit of shooting off the bench, I think it'll help Phoenix a lot. But for the Nets, we've got enough offense. So I don't think losing Shamet is too much of a problem. We have a lot of three-point shooting. So I don't think this is going to set us back too much because we've got plenty of guards. And now let's talk about acquisitions. First and foremost, we got Javon Carter acquired in the Landry Shamet deal. So I don't think we lost too much in this swap. Carter's a defensive point guard. We needed someone like that. I don't think he's going to get a lot of game time. He'll probably be third string. But he's got a fair bit of size for his height, and look, I think he'll contribute. It's been the motto for a fair few years. Brooklyn grit, and next man up. And there could be times where he's called upon to bring some energy. He's got a 3-point shot on him as well, which is always nice in an NBA player. So he's going to be a decent acquisition. And then DeAndre Bembry. Look, I don't think people saw this one coming, but he's also another, defensive option that we can look forward to. He can probably guard, the point guard, shooting guard, and small forward positions. He's 6'5", so he'll be able to cover all three. And that's only on a 1-year deal, so you're not investing in the long term. And then probably what is my favorite deal for a lot of Nets fans, this is the most high-profile pickup. Patty Mills went nuclear in the Olympics, had 42 in the bronze medal match. Is a gun. He is a gun, and he's been known to be a Nets killer in past years. He just gets hot against us. He's just a pest on the offensive end. He's very hard to stop when he gets hot. And I'm just happy that he's on our side now. Because he can probably drop 20 off the bench. He's a good Dinwiddie replacement, and I think he's a better fit than Dinwiddie, because Dinwiddie, he loves the ball in his hands, and he relies on drives a lot. Whereas Mills, I think he can do more catch and shoot work. He doesn't need the ball in his hands. He's got a more reliable 3-ball, which is really good. And we got him for cheap. 2 years, $12 million. I believe it was on the mid-level exception. So that's a brilliant pickup for us. He'll slot in nicely. He isn't signed yet, but he'll be very nice for us. And we also have James Johnson signing on a 1-year veteran deal. He'll be able to guard the small forward and power forward positions. I've seen some places that say that he can guard the center position, but at 6'7", you're not putting him there. I'm sorry. And I'm going to be very infuriated if that actually eventuates. But look, he's got a lot of grit as well. If you try mess with him, he won't stand that shit, and he'll let you know about it. So I think this is a good option in terms of, bringing more defense. I think he's got a 3-ball on him as well. It's not that reliable, but it's a 3 nonetheless, and he's going to be our Jeff Green replacement, which, hopefully becomes something like Jeff Green. I don't think Jeff Green was as good as he was last year in any season in his career. So hopefully James Johnson, he can resurrect his career into something that, really contributes towards winning a championship. But I think he's going to bring a bit of grit, bit of determination, fair bit of hustle, and he's not going to stand down to nobody. He's gonna let people know that he's there, and he's going to make it hard for offensive players. I think if we move quickly to the free agents, we signed Bruce Brown to the qualifying offer very recently, and we also signed Blake Griffin as well. He was an unrestricted free agent, but he wanted to come back to Brooklyn, so he's back on the veterans minimum. Bruce Brown, crucial. He's a really unorthodox player. He played the center position last year, which I think caught a lot of teams off guard, but he did really well with that killer floater he's got. And Blake Griffin, he played a pivotal role. He was guarding Giannis in the semis. He also, he has a 3-ball on him. He basically finessed the Pistons into getting rid of him. And then he just, set it alight. He let teams know that he can still play. He's not washed. So he'll be back. And, he'll be having a decent run at it again. He'll probably be the starting 4 or the starting 5. I think if we just look at the free agents really quickly, we've seen Bruce Brown, he's going to be back. Griffin's going to be back. Dinwiddie, he's gone, obviously. Jeff Green, he's gone, obviously. And then you got Mike James, Tyler Johnson, and Chris Chiozza. Chris Chiozza, he's gone to the Warriors recently. Mike James and Tyler Johnson, I can't see them coming back with all the point guard depth, the additions of Mills and Carter. And then TLC, he is not getting a contract. No one wants him. He said some really outlandish thing in the Olympics, saying that they were going to win gold over the US. I don't think anyone ever saw that as a possibility. And then you got Reggie Perry, who's a restricted free agent, but I believe the Nets will bring him back. Then again, I've got no idea what's going on, how they're going to facilitate those 15 slots, because I believe they're full, and we've still got a few players to, re-sign. So I don't know where Reggie Perry stands on this Nets roster. And arguably, what's the biggest re-signing or move for the Nets is re-signing Kevin Durant, and hopefully James Harden and Kyrie follow suit. But look, he's going to be here till 2026. which is just nuts to think that we're going to see another 4 to 5 years of Kevin. It's going to be great. And hopefully we can win a few chips. It's going to be exciting to see, but I'm just happy that they locked this one up. We move to the rookies, and we acquired Dayron Sharp. I mean, it says here 265 pounds, but he's actually trimmed down a little bit, which is really good for a center. Makes him more mobile at 6'11", which is nice. And we acquired him in the Landry Shamet deal, so he could be a brilliant center for us in the future. He's apparently a beast on the boards, and he's got some passing ability as well. Hopefully he can develop a 3-point shot. He may have one already, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not really 100% sure with this whole draft class, so I'd consider that a win. That trade, Sean Marks doing business once again. And then we got Cam Thomas, who scored 19 in the first Summer League game, and he showed ability, which is really exciting for us Nets fans. Shot creation, driving to the hole. He accumulates free throws, which is really positive. He's a bit small. He can play the point and the shooting guard. Some believe that he shouldn't have dropped to pick 27. Apparently he's a bit, wacky with his shot selection, a bit irrational. But look, you want a bit of aggressiveness. He's the number 8 in honor of Kobe, which is really exciting that he's driven by Kobe's story. And look, he averaged 23 points, the most by freshmen in a major conference since Trae Young in 2017 and 18, and I believe that is one of the best in history. So that's a really good sign, and the fact we've already got all this offense and now we're adding him, it's great. It's great. And he's working alongside Kyrie and Harden, which is just awesome for his development. And he could become a hell of a player. So really exciting. And then we got some more minor selections. Our later 3 picks haven't been signed yet. Kessler Edwards, I think is a 3-and-D, which is someone we really need. So hopefully you can develop into that. Hopefully they don't get rid of him. He's at 6'8", so he's got size on him, and he went to pick 44. Some people believe that he should have gone higher, which is, here's hoping that we got another steal there. And then we also signed David Duke Jr., 6'5", apparently showed some really good signs in the Summer League. He's got some shot creation. He's got a bit of defense as well. So he's 6'5", and he can play the point, which is really good. He's undrafted. He's only on a summer camp deal, so we'll see how that eventuates. And then you've also got 2 other players in Marcus Zegarowski and Raekwon Gray. I'm not too sure what we're going to do with those 2, if we're going to sign them, if they're going to go to another team. I'm unsure. Very similar to, Jalen Hands, I think, a couple of years ago. He didn't end up on the Nets roster, so there could be a similar fate for one of those 2 or both of those 2. And then, as you can see, we've got the depth chart. The asterisk basically indicates that they're not on the roster as of yet. They could be signed. No one knows, though. So yeah, Kyrie Irving. There's a lot of point guard depth there. I don't know how the future stands for Zegarowski. It's not looking good if you look at it this way. And then shooting guard, James Harden, Cam Thomas, that's nuts in terms of shooting. But Bruce Brown, you could put him at all 5 positions because he can play pretty much all of them. Small forwards, we forgot about Joe Harris in all this discussion. But he's there. And I think that's probably the weakest position. I guess you could put Alize Johnson in there. I forgot to put him in. And then power forward slots. It's really up for debate what you do, but you can really mix and match. But you can see there's a good mix of shooting and a good mix of defense. If you look at it this way, there's a lot of depth. There's a lot of capable NBA players at the bottom of the roster. I think that's the major difference. It looks like we have more cover for injuries, but I guess we won't truly know until the season begins. Anyway, that is all for this Brooklyn Nets off-season recap so far. I'm going to give our off-season so far an A-, purely because we've brought players back. We're bringing players in. I don't think some players are necessarily replaceable. For example, Jeff Green and Dinwiddie, I think they are two big losses. But in saying that, we brought some players in that are capable of matching it, possibly playing better, in terms of them being a better fit, and that unlocks their potential. I mean, James Harden has made players better. So hopefully when he runs that bench unit with Mills, Bembry, Johnson, all those guys, hopefully he enhances them and makes them better. But overall, I think this is a fairly strong return, given the players we've lost. I think that Shamet trade was really good for us, both for the long term and the short term, in providing a bit of backup depth in the point guard position. But overall, yeah, I think this was a fairly strong start to the season ahead. I mean, the season hasn't started, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this one. This is a bit different from my AFL videos, but anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Smash a like, subscribe, all that jazz. Anyway, I'll see you around for another sporting video, whatever code that may be. I'll see you around then. Peace out.